Here's your heads up to what was going to be a 5-minute quickie that's turned out to be well over half an hour of giving you ways to get your own personal bests in every area of your life and then beat them. All you have to do is find your competition and use them. Let them be your guide. Have a listen.
Warning.
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 Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Hey, I've got a suggestion to you. It's a little bit off the wall, and it's all about, I want you to find your competition. But I want you to always keep finding competition, finding the people or the companies, if it's a business thing, that are better than you all the time. So always look for the next rung up. Now, why would you want to do that? Why don't, you could say, well, I just want to be the best. Well, I know you do. And I want that for you too. But I want to find and show you a way. Well, a couple of ways, but I've got some ideas. And by no means are these the only ways. You know that. There's plenty of ways. And I want you to consider what I'm going to be saying and then even think of better ways. So let's think of, well, first of all, I'm going to guess that you have something that you want to improve, whether it's your business, whether it's your career, whether it's your health, whether it's things you want to change, whether it's your spirituality, whether it's, well, you fill in the blank. We've got so many ways to improve. And I guess if you answered this question the way I did initially was, what do you want to improve, Paul? I said to myself, well, generally, I want to improve everything. Now, that's a great big generality, isn't it? Everything. Really? Everything? So we need to split that down. Get specificity. I love that word. That's the only reason I went this way. But we've got to be specific with specificity. Because you see, to get there, we need to hone our skills, but home in to hone in our skills. So you may have, certainly I have, more than one area of my life that I want to improve. So we're going to identify it. And we're going to go through in a minute ways to do this, but you just got to narrow it down. So maybe while I'm talking, you might want to get your Jenny journal out, and as things come to you, you might go, actually, it is my health, and what part of my health? Let's break that down. Well, I'm all right with my diet. I could get better, so maybe diet a little bit. Maybe it's my fitness. Maybe it's in the area of fitness, it's my running ability or my gym work. So we're just it's called chunking down. In NLP terms, it's called chunking down. So we get to the specifics. Because when you get that right, I also know everything else within that category will improve anyway. Because as you do that, things just do improve. So think about that. You might want to do that later and then follow my thoughts. Or you can do it now as you're listening. Depends on what you're doing, really, I guess. But the thing is, once you've narrowed it down, and you may have like 10 things, but okay, and you can do all 10 things at once sometimes if they're in different categories because you're doing different things at different times. So don't worry about that. But you'll get it. I know you'll get it. Now, let's just park that for a moment and think of something else. We all have heroes, don't we? Well, we all have heroes that do the thing that you want to improve on, or you know someone who's actually doing it, who's getting the results you aren't getting or you want to get. So, and you look at both of these, hold both in mind. So you can still have your hero. Well, they're doing it, but there's also this guy over here or this gal over there. They're actually doing what I want to do. Because, okay, sometimes heroes can be so far out there. I keep telling you, they're only ordinary people doing extraordinary things. They've honed their skills. They had their competition. But they have all got things that they can teach you. And that's where we're going. Because your heroes are your competition. The person who's actually doing what you want to do or doing it to a standard that you want to achieve is your competition. And I want you to go and find them. And not just find them, write their names down. Even if you don't know their name, it's that person in the gym. You know the one. Boom, boom, boom. And you know what? They are, okay, heroes are heroes and they'll jump at you straight away. But the people who are doing it, they're just there in plain sight because you see them and you go, oh, they're healthy. They're looking good. Oh, look at the way they're lifting those weights. Or they're obviously eating correctly. Or maybe it's a friend of yours who's maybe not all their life is, the things that you want to improve upon, because maybe you feel you're better or you're doing things better than them in the different categories. But there's one category that they are really, smashing it. So write their names down on what it is, because I just want you to start to really, well, first of all, to remember it, even though that isn't a word, but it's always written down so you can always come back to this. You can improve upon it because this is all about competition. You may even have to search around. Go look for people who are doing the things you want to do. And you know the circles that they'll be in because they're in a similar circle to you. If it comes down to it, it could even be in books, autobiographies. It could be in YouTube videos. It could be different podcasts, because things like the Tim Ferriss podcast, he interviews people who and breaks down what they're doing, trying to get them to understand what they're doing. And that's where I take a lot of my inspiration from, because I then take that and break that down even into the simple steps. So there's loads of places you can find what you need to find. Now, the thing is, let's think about what most people do, because they find you can find your competition without even looking sometimes, because you just know that person. Oh dear, look at them, you say. And you've got that negativity around them because you think to yourself, and this is what most people do, and I'm most people too. I look at that person and I go, do you know what? They're special. They're so special. Oh, they're gifted. Oh, they had so many more opportunities. Oh, they've got everything. Anyway, I couldn't do it like that. I just couldn't. Or what you do is you try to beat them. Try to beat your competition. Both of those actions will end in disaster. Well, it won't be failure unless you don't learn from it. But I don't want you to fail. I want you to learn, but I don't want you to go to that point of learning. I want you to learn it in a better way so you achieve your goals. You see, that competition is good for you if you use that competition wisely. They're there for you to use wisely. They really are. You see, let's just rewind a little bit. Rewind to that bit about, I can't do this. They're special. They're gifted. You see, I want you to accept something. And normally I say, don't accept, just acknowledge. But this time, we're going to hashtag it and call it accept the excuses. Because that's what they are. They're just blooming excuses. It's BS. You see, those people became an overnight sensation over years. But the thing is, they are gifted in your eyes. And they are gifted in what they're doing. I mean, I try to play golf occasionally. And I will never be a Tiger Woods. I say that again. I'll never be a Tiger Woods or any other great golfers. Because he was gifted. If we take Tiger Woods, he was gifted and he was playing since 5. But the other thing what he does is, he doesn't just, because he's just done it for a long time, he got good at it, that does help. He also put in hours and hours and hours and hours of practice. Okay, so maybe we can't put hours and hours of practice because this is a bit of modelling now, but I can practice in a better way. But we'll break that down shortly. What else did he do? He has coaches for all different areas of his game. He has it for the short game, the long game, his mental game, his physical game. He has individual coaches to bring each part. So he gets his specificity down into different areas, categories of his game, and then improves each one. Now, think about that. We could use that. But we'll come back to that in a minute. But we could use that because that's just modelling. We now know he practices, so we know we've got to practice. So let's think of how we can practice, or how does he practice, and follow that practice. He has coaches. Well, maybe we can't afford a coach for every area of our life, but we can probably afford a coach for the area of that category. that subcategory that would make the most beneficial difference. And that would be a good thing to invest in, wouldn't it? And sometimes that type of coaching doesn't even cost you anything, and I'll explain that later. But we just break down the model and then apply it to our lives. So we're using someone who we thought was gifted and special, now everyone's special, but as an excuse, and using them and saying, thank God you're there, because now I can try to follow what you do. NLP terms, it's called modeling. If I can get into their head, their body, but I'll explain that in a minute. Now, we have to accept, as was just said, those were all excuses. And when you've got rid of all those excuses, then we can start. And we'll start in a minute. Because there was another one. I said, try to beat them. Now, sometimes, okay, Tiger Woods, never going to beat him. But sometimes, I know a guy, a friend of mine, goes to the gym. And if he's in a particular class, he tries to beat everybody all the time. And sometimes it's just all out aggression, all out push. Sometimes he beats them, sometimes he doesn't. But the thing is, he's just using it with the intention to beat them, not to get better. He doesn't look at them and say, well, I came out of that gym session and I'm absolutely a mess. And they're coming out still fit and healthy. How do they do that? Because they could use that as a way to get better in the gym. But again, you see, just beating them for beating them's sake is, what does it do? What does it prove? To them, they didn't even know you existed there probably, because they're doing it in a different way. Okay, you beat them. Did it do you any good? Well, maybe. But does that keep you going? Because if they're not there, maybe you pick somebody else who's not so good to try to beat them. So you're not consistent. But the thing is, instead of beating them, use them. Because you can use them to inspire yourself. See them as inspiration of what can be achieved. And knowing, and this is why I say, always look for even more competition. Competition that's even better than them and better than you and better than you. Because there's always more. We can always do 1% more if we know how to do it wisely. Because sometimes, people will say, well, it's not just in the effort, it's in the technique. And when you get the technique and the effort together, things become easier, more accurate, more beneficial, more rewarding. So what I'm suggesting is you look at these people as competition to be inspired by, and have your measure not as them, but as your own personal best. So all you have to do is beat yourself. Set PBs in everything. What's a PB, Cluffy? Personal best. And it doesn't matter whether we've been having fitness and golf and that type of thing as examples, but this could be in anything that you do. Have a personal best of your focusing. If it's solving a problem, it's your concentration levels. Get a personal best in concentration. Maybe it's just resting. Get a personal best of resting, not necessarily the length of time, but the depth of rest. Maybe it's meditation. Again, it doesn't have to be the length, but it just needs the quality. Always look to get a personal best. But again, look for those people who are your competition so you can learn by them. Does this all make sense? Getting your personal best. Use people as inspiration. But how are you going to do this? Because so many people would leave you here and go, oh, there we go. Now we know what to do. But I want to give you a few hows, and also from those hows, I want you to consider how you can improve upon them. What could you add to them? Because when you add to them, okay, you're looking at a model and then improving the model for you, which in turn, if you shared it with somebody, you would improve their model. You become a competition, but also as a mentor. Now that's awesome. So sharing what you do and what you've learned is wonderful. Just like this. Receiving a gift feels awesome. Giving a gift feels awesome. Awesome for the giver, awesome for the receiver. So sharing what we have here gets you to feel awesome, gets the person receiving this sharing to feel even more awesome, and to know they're connected, and to know you're connecting. It's the most wonderful feeling in the world. I love when my sons send me information to look at, because they're sharing with me, they're thinking about me, we're connecting, and I know they feel good when they do it too. So why not share this podcast, if you would, to connect with others? Share it with your friends, even people you don't know. It will make such a difference to them. It's selfless service, which is this, well, what is this podcast is based upon. And it's reciprocal. And it's not meant to be, but it just is. So the more you share, the more you get back, even though we do it in a selfless way. It just makes the whole world so much better. And you will never know how far the ripples of change will go by just sharing what you know and thinking about people. Let's connect. Let's make everyone else feel awesome because we're connecting with them. It will really feel so good. Anyway, having got that sharing out of the way, let's get a couple of hows going. I like to get a journal out, if we're going to do it in writing, because it's good to write these things down. Certainly, you've done this specificity. That's a lovely word, isn't it? Specificity. You've narrowed down in this one particular category. So you can have page upon page of different categories. One of the things you could just do is simply ask, how did they get that good? And investigate that. What are they doing that I'm not doing? Another question. And you observe it, you read it, you find out. How do you find out? Well, if there's someone close to you, ask. Just ask them. Hey, I'm so impressed with what you're doing. You seem to do it so naturally. Can you tell me a little bit about what you do? First of all, they'll probably say, I don't know, I just do it. Because that's one of the main, if there is a problem, in modelling. Because people do it unconsciously. But all you have to do is, well, I know when you started you didn't know much about this, because no one really does. What did you do to improve to get as good as you are? And then they'll start saying, well, I started off practicing this, and then I noticed I had to do that, and then I had to change my diet, whatever it was. But it just bring them back to the time when they didn't know, and notice and ask them what they did. Now, if it's someone maybe slightly more famous, you can really be tongue-in-cheek and send them an email. Most people have got a website with a contact on. Send them an email saying, I know this is a question that you've probably been asked 1,000 times, but this one particular thing I'm looking to improve. Can you just, if there's any advice of what you did, not what you're telling people to do, what you did to get there, that would be awesome. Now you may get a reply, you're not, but what have you lost? You've lost 30 seconds of an email time. But most people are so gracious with their time and their sharing of what they do, especially when you ask with the intention, the right intention. But you can find out by just watching them sometimes. Get some YouTube, if it's someone who's more famous and they've got YouTube videos, do that. Or actually search how to get better at. So notice then, you can find lots of little ways by just searching the internet, searching books, asking questions, even if it's that person who may be in the office with you and you go, I just saw you do that. How did you get to do that? Because that's something I don't do naturally and I'd love to learn it. See, my friend Mike, the guy I used to work with, he used to do something which really impressed me. We would be having a meeting. We'd be talking about stuff and someone would come in and go, oh, Mike, there's a bit of a problem. Really needs your input. And he'd ask me, say, Paul, do you think we could just stop for 5 minutes? Because I want to deal with this now. I think it's really important that I deal with it right now. I'm not going to put it off. And that's what he did, because I'd say, no, fine, you do it. I've got things to do. So he always was respectful with my time. But the thing is, he dealt with those things that needed dealing with right there, right then. And I thought that was a real great skill because he didn't put things off. Because sometimes if things are a little bit difficult, then, we have this thing, well, if we put them aside, maybe they'll go away. Or sometimes problems, other people's problems, if they keep coming to you, you put them to the side, they'll solve them themselves if you give them enough space and time. But if you just put off those problems that are not going to go away, well, guess what? They're not going to go away. In fact, they tend to fester and get worse. Now, he had this wonderful skill, which I decided, that's not bad. I'm going to do that. So if something came up, I'd quickly evaluate it. Is it something that is really needs my attention? That if I deal with it, it'll be the best thing I can do with my time. Boom, I'd do it. And if it wasn't, I'd park it and actually set a time for it. And that was a great skill. Thanks, Mike. And I just observed it. I didn't have to ask him. I just thought, that's brilliant. But if you see somebody doing something on the phone, if it's at work, and say, I noticed that you dealt with that objection, or you got through to that person. How did you learn to do that? And they'll tell you. You say, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Come and tell me. Come on. Everyone loves talking about themselves. All you have to do is guide them with your questioning. That's the art of modelling, or one of the arts and skills of modelling. It's one of the skills of modelling. Get it right, Cluffy. There's more, but that's one of them. Asking the right questions. Now, what you could do, and this is a little bit more way out there, but it really works, is to use perceptual positions. Do you remember what they were? I'll remind you anyway, because you might be new to this. But perceptual positions are, first position is looking through your own eyes at the world, the reality you think is out there. Second position, if you were looking at somebody, second position is looking through their eyes back at you, seeing the world as they see it, their reality, their physiology. And that third position is that meta position, the one that's just dissociated, maybe a little bit up higher, looking down upon the whole scene and seeing you and the other person, or that whatever it is, but it could be just you, but it's that dissociated view. Now, what you can do is imagine seeing that person in front of you. You could ask some questions and notice what the answer is. But as you hear that answer, you can just pause it, flow out of your body and go into their body and notice what impressions you get from their thinking, from that position, looking back at you. Or if you could imagine reliving, as it were, or reviewing something that you saw them do, and then flow out into their body and notice what they're doing. Notice what it feels like. Notice the physiology. Always knowing and saying that, just being 100% safe about this, say, I'm only going to do it to learn the things I need to learn that will enhance my life safely and healthily. Always good to be safe. But you can learn so much just by viewing them from your position, or that meta position. So you dissociate it and look at them without that, I wish I could do that. Oh, I see what they've done. You see, then, having asked them, having got some information, having got that perceptual positions, having asked the questions yourself, then set your targets. They become your own personal targets, short term, long term. But remember, so many of us overestimate what we can do in the short term, but underestimate what we can do in the long term. So when you look at that, just review again. Well, could I really do it then? What if I break it down from that short term all the way back to now to make sure you've got the time to do it? Because I want you to succeed. And then that long term view. And you can change them. They're flexible, remember. And then look for that next competition and the next one. And notice, as you review your PBs, as it were, notice the other areas of that category. Just notice, are they improving too? Because what you'll tend to find is that everything rises. Your game just rises in all areas of that category. As you improve one, other areas improve. So and what tends to happen, it's easy to improve the things you do well. But it's that one thing that if you improved that would make the whole game better. Game is in a nice way. Because it's good to have fun doing this as well. So make it pleasurable, make it fun. And then notice how you can look for the next competitor. Not to beat, not to have an excuse, but use them as inspiration. Okay, this is my level now. And I want to get to that level. I wonder what they're doing to get that good. What are they doing that I'm not doing at the moment? maybe the perceptual positions, maybe just asking them. But sometimes, just by recognizing that they are your competitors in a good way and inspired because they're only ordinary people doing extraordinary things, you can see them. You'll start to work it out yourself. You can just go, well, maybe they just have an intention that they're going to do the thing they want to do. Maybe they just put themselves in the right state. What state are they in? Well, they seem awfully confident in what maybe they know so much. They have it at their fingertips. Maybe that's the thing I need to do. Maybe I'm lacking. I just haven't quite got the firm foundations of the information. You can work so many things out just by watching them. And if it's things like YouTube, you can watch it a couple of times and make your notes and then go and practice it. How do you practice it? There's more than 2 ways, but I've got 2 ways in mind. One of them is just use your Imagineering. See yourself out there. Close your eyes. See yourself out there doing the thing that you want to improve in the way they're doing it. If you want to, and it's a bit difficult to get you to do that straight away, see them doing it and then have them morph into you, and then you go into that you out there and just be doing it. Notice what it feels like. So get your unconscious mind to realize what is the difference between where you are and where you're going, and to ask your unconscious mind to make those changes. What have I got to learn to make these changes? What have I got to do to make these changes? What am I not doing that if I did it would allow me to make those changes? What am I doing if I stopped doing would allow me to make those changes? Those 2 wonderful questions. There's that other one. If this was easy, what would it look like? What would it be like? You have those in your mind playing over. You'll find those precious little gems, the keys that just make the tiny change. But it's that one tiny change, the difference that makes a difference. The other thing you could do is act as if. Act as if. And this is not making it till you fake it. Oh no, that's the wrong way around, but it's BS anyway. It's not faking it till you make it. But you say to yourself, if I was to act as if I was already doing it, how would I be? How would I act? What is my physiology? What's my psychology of excellence? Remember, that's the 5th part of the 5 keys to success. Act as if, with the psychology and physiology of excellence. So you just notice in real time, how would you act, walk, talk, move as if you'd had that goal already, if you could do it? What would your mindset be? What would your beliefs be? And have that belief, have that mindset, and notice, actually, it's not that big a jump. In fact, I'm doing it now. All I have to do is practice a little bit more of this with this physiology, with this mindset, with this psychology of excellence, with the right intention, with the right state. How do you set your state? It's on my hypnosis tracks. There's also a podcast that goes with it. So go to paulcloughonline.com/podcast. Find that, set your state, set your intention. They're 2 different processes. Listen to the podcast that goes with them. Boom, you've got another set of skills. They're all there for you. There's over 40 hypnosis tracks there. So you'll find something that will help you learn these skills. We're going to go on more about this. This started as a 5-minute quickie. This is no longer a 5-minute quickie, I think. It's going to be a full-blown podcast. And we'll move, I think, go more into the modelling side and get deeper with it. Because once you get it in your unconscious mind how to model, okay, not to the standards of, say, an NLP practitioner or master practitioner of modelling, but just with the basics, the simple steps of that process, and get them as an unconscious model in your muscle, you're going to reap massive rewards. Massive rewards. There you go. I think this 5-minute quickie that's in a long podcast has gone way, way wonderful. I hope it's wonderful. I hope I didn't think I weaved off. I did a bit, but I think I brought myself back in. I'm going to have to work out ways how I can improve that. And just as an aside, I don't know if you've noticed, but maybe you've noticed that if you went back to the very early podcasts of Personal Development Unplugged, how I spoke then, how the format was, the quality of the recordings, well, they've all changed, and I believe they've been enhanced hugely. And that's just not by luck. That's me listening to other podcasts, me looking at different videos. So how do you use different things? How do you edit things? Going to a speech therapist to try, and it was try, but to get a difference in the way I come across. All different ways you could do it, and it works. Hopefully you can see the difference, hear the difference. If you can't, go back to those early ones. Just have a little listen. You've got to have a listen to them anyway, because there's a huge amount of tools back there. Go and find them. I'll probably have to revisit them myself, and we'll put more podcasts out as we refine them. But until then, let's go and set our personal bests, our own PBs, and keep setting them higher and higher. Maybe have a personal best of having more fun than you can stand. Maybe your unconscious mind could have a personal best of making you feel happy for no reason, and have that happiness get more and more. Who knows? Until the next time, I'm going to say bye-bye now. And in a second, I think there might be a whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. Just before you go, if you would, just bear with me for one moment. Well, about a minute. Because I have a very important personal request from Old Cluffy here to you. I'd like you to do one very big favour for me. In fact, it's only a little favour, but it'll have a huge effect, and certainly affect my gratitude immensely. Will you go to iTunes? And if you're not on iTunes, the player of your choice, but especially iTunes, go to iTunes and complete one of those reviews. You know, the ones with the 5 stars and just a little bit of typing to show people and tell people exactly the thing that you love about this personal development unplugged podcast. Because when you do, it does wonderful things, because it will help grow the audience. Okay, you can say, well, that's your ego, Paul, but it isn't. It is a little bit, because I love speaking to so many people, but it also means that you are sharing the word and making a difference to those people. So when they read them, they go, oh, I'll have a listen to this. And that makes this podcast a little bit more popular. And if they share it and pay it forward and do the exact same thing, we're going to get noticed as a big community of change makers, because that's who you are. Changing yourselves and being the change you want to see in others. And all it takes is that one little 5-star review. Well, it could be 5-star, could be whatever star you think is most applicable to you. If you do that, I would be absolutely awesomely gratitudinal. If that's a word, gratitudinal. So anyway, until the next time, and you'll probably hear this again, but please do a little favour for Cluffy. I'd be most grateful. Until then, or till the next time, bye-bye now.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.